8 teams left. Divisional round playoffs. We're previewing and making picks for Bills, Broncos, 49ers, Seahawks, Texans, Patriots, Rams, Bears, who will be the NFC and AFC championship game participants on today's NFL Six Pack.
This is Locked On's NFL Six Pack. 6 bold takes from 2 guys who just flat out know football. NFL experts Matt Williamson and Brian Peacock bring pure NFL talk. Great takes, no fluff, just honest football talk. Crack one open. It's NFL Six Pack on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the NFL Six Pack. Brian Peacock and Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network, and thanks for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode of NFL Six Pack is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Let's crack this thing open. Actually, a 4-pack today instead of a 6-pack. And we've got 4 divisional round playoff games. We're going to get into these games and make our official picks for these. And some very interesting things being reported just before we go on the air. We might want to go out of order just because of some injury news with 49ers Seahawks. Both coaching staffs, just before we started recording here, Matt, took the podium and gave their injury reports. And obviously it's Saturday games. The injury reports come out a day earlier than we're used to for Sunday football. And it is now official. Fred Warner not going to make his comeback against the Seahawks on Saturday. Kyle Shanahan did say that the plan was that Fred Warner could be available for the NFC Championship game next week if the 49ers were able to get there. So was able to do some walkthroughs. He did look pretty good out there, but you could tell he was favoring his ankle a little bit. He's 3 months and 1 day past that, not only broken ankle, but dislocated ankle surgery. So insane that he's even back at practice in a limited fashion this week. Could return for the NFC Championship game if that was to be for the San Francisco 49ers. They got to get by the Seahawks first. It might get a little easier to get by the Seattle Seahawks with the bomb that was dropped from Clint Kubiak, Seahawks offensive coordinator, man, because he said that quarterback Drew Lock was taking work with the ones at Seahawks practice because Sam Darnold came up with an oblique injury and is now listed officially as questionable for the playoff game against the San Francisco 49ers on Saturday evening. So that is a big twist here as we get ready for some Saturday playoff football.
Huge. So I assume maybe you're more on top of this because this is your team playing, that Darnold must have done it in practice over the last 2 weeks.
He was not on the injury report yesterday.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say he had the week off and he played, the last time we saw him. So he seemed like he was fine. He must have tweaked something or did something in practice. I don't know what to make of it, and we'll get more info, obviously, as we get closer to the game. I think I'm going to pick the game as if Darnold's playing.
So it is questionable, but apparently he was using the Theragun on the side, and he did say nothing to see here. So Sam Darnold himself said he's going to be able to play. Oblique injury, who knows? Could he tweak it during the game as well? So it's an interesting one. It plays a factor. I'm going to assume he's going to play and be near 100%.
Okay. If he doesn't, the one thing I was going to throw out there is I wonder if there's a Milroe package. If Darnold go at all, but
probably at that point, I wonder if it's an injury where it's like, well, I'd still rather have oblique injured Darnold out there than Milroe.
I would bet.
And then he would still be the backup if Drew Lock plays. So that would be very.
And maybe you just don't have him as the emergency guy. You have him active,
But here's what's interesting. I think I talked about this stat a little bit earlier on in the week. Sam Darnold has 1 postseason touchdown pass in his career.
Mm-hmm.
And Brock Purdy has, for how long he's been in the league, not very long. He's got a lot of wins, and he's got 8 touchdown passes in his career. Sam Darnold has fewer touchdown passes than not only the backup to Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, who had 2 touchdown passes in a playoff game his rookie year. Both of those, by the way, to current 49ers receiver Kendrick Bourne, I believe. But Juwan Jennings, 49ers wide receiver, has twice as many touchdown passes as Sam Darnold. He's got 2. Sam Darnold has 1 in his career. Drew Lock, 0 touchdown passes in his postseason career. So 49ers a lot more experience throwing touchdown passes with their throwers in the postseason than the Seattle Seahawks going into this game. And clearly that'd be a huge bummer for the Seahawks if they can't have Sam Darnold out there.
I mean, how ticked would you be if you're a Seattle fan and tweak an oblique on Wednesday or Thursday in practice on your bye week, and that's how your season gets derailed? But,
you're supposed to get more healthy during the
right. So we gave Purdy the advantage anyway, then the quarterback advantage, and we gave the Niners offense the advantage over Seattle's when we ranked them as well. Now, certainly defense is a totally different side of the coin, obviously. But I do think you mentioned some stats yesterday, and it passes the eyeball test, that Seattle's offense is not what it was at the beginning of the season. That's for sure. A lot more inconsistent. It's not bad, but it's not great. Darnold still worries me in big games, and I rarely say that about quarterbacks, but the bigger the game, the worse he's been lately, even since this Vikings resurgence. I do think Seattle's a better team. This is obviously the third meeting. I think Seattle's defense really showed a lot when they played the first time. I thought that going into that game that the Niners offense was an unstoppable force. And against a high-end defense, I was proved very wrong about that. But from what I saw, the line's 7. That's a lot.
It is a lot of points for two teams that in their first two meetings, neither team has scored 20 points against the other yet this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so you would expect that this is a hard-fought game, both very physical. Seahawks have one of the best defenses in the NFL. And so that's good on good when the 49ers offense, the Seahawks defense is on the field. The 49ers will have Trent Williams in this game, even though they won't have Fred Warner or George Kittle in this game. And it's looking like Ricky Pearsall is trending towards being able to play in this game. He's listed as questionable. And so that's, I don't know if it's a net positive, net negative as far as injuries go for the 49ers versus who was out there just a couple of weeks ago. But Charles Cross as well is, and I believe
he's another one.
And Josh Jones are both banged up for the Seahawks as they have been for the last few weeks. So we'll see who's able to play in this game. And so, but that is to say that the 49ers, I think, from an injury standpoint, it is what it is for them. You definitely love from a physical standpoint against a really good defense to have Trent Williams back. So that's pretty big.
Yeah, it is.
They're not going to be able to run the ball great and super efficient.
I wouldn't think.
So it's more about what the 49ers are able to do in the passing game. If they're able to get they couldn't even get a first down against the Seahawks a couple of weeks ago. It was crazy. They got 3 points, which was the fewest points a Shanahan offense has had in San Francisco since his very first game in 2017 as head coach with an awful roster. But the 49ers, and what do you think about this? The 49ers, and maybe I'm just overthinking it in a way and looking at it with scarlet and gold colored glasses, but do you think it's an advantage for the 49ers, not because of how the game went last time, but that the Seahawks are just sitting there, they have a week off, maybe get overconfident, and you see some teams sometimes start slow in the next game after they have a bye week, and they don't really have anything to change because everything works so well. And the 49ers have the advantage of saying, oh, we get to show that we get to change something first and try something that we think is now going to work, because what we did last time, a couple of weeks ago, didn't work at all.
I definitely think that's one way of looking at it. And I always look at those things like whatever happens, it probably wasn't because of the week off or whatever. You can say it on Monday, oh, that team was well rested because they won, or they got lazy because they lost, whatever. But I'll be honest, it's one of my little notes here is I think the Broncos and Seattle getting the bye is very, very important. I think it's a definite advantage. There's a lot of bumps and bruises this time of year that just go away, and maybe you don't change as much schematically, but they're not easy place to play, especially Denver. And I do think that, these teams having to play hard-fought battles the week before could take its toll. And that's one of the reasons I'm going to take Seattle to win. I'm shocked the number's 7, though. Niners have played a million games. Shanahan's played a million games in Seattle. It's not the hardest place to play. Very much familiarity with the division game. Still a really good offense.
Playoff game, divisional opponents, you get 7 points. That's automatic. I'm taking the points every single time. 49ers have been good on the road. I don't think that's a huge deterrent for the 49ers playing in Seattle. Seattle's not quite the place it was at one point in time as far as home field advantage goes. You'd rather play at home than away. The 49ers, I just said, neither team both teams probably won't score more than 20, but I would bet the 49ers score more than 3, right? And so,
I bet they're in the teens at least.
Right. Is it a 17 to 14 game, 17 to 10? Is it an ugly scoreagami type of a game? Is there, it's division opponents. You never know. I think it's easy. And look, I said this last week about the 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Seahawks should be favored, and they're favored for a reason, but I'm still taking the points. I'm taking the points. Again, this is a divisional round game. You said if you're going to give me 7 points in the third time NFL teams play as a playoff game, I'll even take it a step further. It's not a wild card where one team sneaks in and gets killed by the higher seed. I mean, you already won a playoff game. Mm-hmm. You're legit. I'm definitely taking the points here. Yeah. I'm really interested to see what wrinkles Kyle Shanahan. Just the biggest thing the 49ers fixed last week versus the week before was tackling. The 49ers missed 18 tackles against the Seahawks. Wow. And had 2 different linebackers in the game and a couple of rookies playing that actually have been really good for the 49ers, which helped their run defense. And it was a completely different story against the Philadelphia Eagles the next week. And so I say Kendricks and those linebackers weren't bad. Kendricks played pretty really awesome. Well. Yeah. For a guy who was, not on a roster just a month ago, basically. So it's going to be a close game. It's going to be probably in the teens, and I'm taking the points, but Seattle's probably the team that's going to advance, especially if Darnold plays. If Drew Lock doesn't play, rather than the line goes, things are going to get really weird potentially, right? Is Seattle favored if Darnold's inactive? They probably will. I don't know if it'll move that much, but it'll move a lot. I bet it's like 2.5. Yeah. And at which point I would just take the money line 49ers potentially. Mm-hmm. And, things can get weird. Both quarterbacks, any of the quarterbacks that are going to play in this game could throw the interception to the other team too. So Miners might need some help. They might need some takeaways. They might need to be able to fall on a fumble. Big special teams play, something like that, to be able to upset the Seattle Seahawks this week, because they're a tougher opponent than the Philadelphia Eagles were last week. And look, Eagles offensive coordinator got fired after that game. This offensive coordinator is getting head coach interviews. Right. So there's a little bit different worlds, even though both teams are defense heavy with the Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's talk the other one seed, the Denver Broncos. They're hosting Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. We've got Texans at Patriots on Sunday, and we've got the Los Angeles Rams at the Chicago Bears to finish up the divisional round of playoffs. Make those picks next. This episode of NFL Six Pack is brought to you by Ultimate QB Football Legend. Ever wished you become a pro quarterback, maybe even getting drafted first overall by your favorite team? Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of a number 1 draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness, to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. This is the number 1 QB career mode game in the mobile app stores, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. We're talking signing contracts, training, upgrading yourself, building chemistry. I don't know if you can go back to college to start like Dante Moore did instead of getting drafted by a certain team. But you rise through the ranks and become a pro football legend. You'll deal with the ups and downs of a quarterback career. The Ultimate QB is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two on the go. Just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search for Ultimate QB in your app store. And got something special for you guys. Use the code Locked On inside the game to get a free boost to start your career. That's code Locked On. Ultimate QB Football Legend QB1. It's your legacy. This episode is also brought to you by Home Chef. As the new year gets going, a lot of people are trying to simplify their routines, right? Add dinner is a big one. Busy work days, cold winter nights, packed schedules, trying to get dinner on the table, trying to have something that's healthy and delicious. Having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. That's where Home Chef comes in. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes that actually taste great, and they're rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. It's easy to see why. Meals come ready to fit your schedule, 30-minute recipes, oven-ready trays, quick lunches, tons of options, over 30 weekly options, including family-sized meals and different dietary choices. And for a limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. All right, thanks again, everybody, for making us your first listen of the day. You guys got to check out the Everydayer Club if you have not. Just go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer or go to NFL6pack.supercast.com. You can find the link in the show notes. Ad-free streams of this show and a invite for a Discord server, talking with hosts, talking with other fans, talking ball. It's a lot of fun. So check out the Everydayer Club right now. Link in the show notes. Here we go. Let's talk Bills at Broncos. We got the 1 seed Broncos hosting the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. How do you see this game going? It is a 1.5 point favorite are the Denver Broncos at home hosting those Buffalo Bills.
So when Denver has the football, not that they're going to minimize Nick's, but I don't think they want to put everything on his plate. You know, as put it, we're all on your shoulders, Bo. I don't see that at all. I think that Peyton will really be dedicated to the run, and that O-line and group of running backs is good enough to do that, because I think Buffalo's run defense is still a major problem, to be honest.
It's really bad. And
it's really bad.
You look at the stats this year, and the Bills don't get thrown on a lot. And it's not because their pass defense is so good. It's because teams don't need to do anything else.
They don't have to.
They just run on the Bills.
Over and over. And I'm sure that's how Denver's looking at this. We're at home. We're going to wear them out in the thin air. We have a big physical line behind, Quinn Meinertz and McGlinchey and those guys. And let's just pound the ball. On the other side of the ball, obviously Josh Allen is the massive wild card of this game and the playoffs as a whole. And he did some spectacular things in Jacksonville, but he was also highly efficient and smart and upper level quarterbacking. And maybe this is just the year when the best player in the playoffs takes his team all the way to the Super Bowl and the Bills finally get one. But every other matchup except for him, to me, really favors Denver, especially their corners in man coverage against receivers that can't get open versus man.
Yeah, I'm taking the Broncos in this
Me
one.
too.
And it's going to take an exceptional effort from Josh Allen, and he could absolutely do it, getting the ball out of his hands quickly, some catch and run with Khalil Shakir. How about the resurgence of Brandon Cooks? How about the resurgence of all these old guys on the Bills roster? It's kind of weird. You got
Bosa,
Brandon Cooks, you got Bosa on the defensive side of the ball, you got Shaq Thompson.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Tre'Davious White starting to
playing well again all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's very strange. So a lot of old guys making appearances for the Bills defense, and Josh Allen he'll probably have to make a lot of plays, not only with his arm but with his legs as well.
He's going to be under pressure.
Yeah, and there's not going to be a lot of places to throw the ball, I don't think, against
Kincaid. He'll have to have a huge game, or
yeah,
Cook as a receiver. Or, you know,
hit some catch and run stuff with Khalil Shakir and Cook out of the backfield. I think is absolutely how things are going to have to go in the passing game. And obviously Josh Allen's going to have, he's going to have like at least one, probably two rushing touchdowns if the Bills are able to knock off the
I would think so,
the Denver Broncos in this game. But I like the Broncos. I like them being able to play their brand of football, being able to run the ball. When you have a really good defense and you can run the ball, it's usually pretty good. And you're at home, that's a pretty good combination.
Yeah, I like that combination a lot. I don't think this is a great matchup at all for the Bills.
Let's see. Let's do this next and get to the two Sunday games. We've got the Houston Texans at the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams at the Chicago Bears, and maybe a whole lot of weather as well. It'll play a factor on Sunday next. This episode of NFL Six Pack is brought to you by Game Time. What are you doing if you don't have the Game Time app in your pocket and ready to go? I've used Game Time so often, not only for sporting events, but for going to see in concerts, tickets to comedy shows. You can find all of it and get phenomenal last-minute deals on the Game Time app. But how about going to see your favorite team play football, cheering alongside other fans, the crowd noise? It's so fun. But the frustrating part has always been getting tickets to big games, waiting in queues, dealing with logins, and watching prices change right at checkout. That's why the Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing NFL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. In fact, one of our listeners, Matt, hit us up and said, thanks to Game Time, I got some tickets, and I finally got to see my favorite college football team go play a game, the Hurricanes, and watch them advance to go play in the title game. So that was really cool to hear. And there's phenomenal deals, last-minute deals. You get the views from your seat before you buy, so there's no surprises, and all fees are included up front, so the price you see is exactly the price you pay. So take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today and get back to being there live. And this episode and all of the lines we reference all season long, including these lines here for these divisional playoff games, are brought to you by FanDuel. And divisional round is here. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode every game day during the NFL playoffs. FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action because right now, every NFL playoff game day, there's two of them. We got Saturday and Sunday. FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like the most. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too when you're watching playoff football. You make your picks, then apply your profit boosts to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. All right, here we go. A couple of Sunday games. We might have snow in New England as the New England Patriots host the Houston Texans. And I would imagine if you asked Mike Vrabel and D'Amico Ryans, hey, you can play in good weather or you can play in really bad weather, I would think that D'Amico Ryans would be more excited about the bad weather and trying to limit the potential MVP quarterback on the other side rather than the other way around. Now, it'll help probably both defenses, and who knows, maybe there's some mudder and it could be snow or rain actually on Sunday, but it's likely going to be some really bad weather. And I haven't really seen really much of CJ Stroud or doesn't so much in Houston either, but Drake May hasn't played in the snow to my knowledge in the NFL. And so if you could slow down somebody that is an MVP style quarterback, I think it absolutely helps the other team, especially when you have as good of a defense as the Houston Texans do.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of looking at it, that maybe the southern team would prefer the snow and the wet and the cold and the yuck.
It's not like Drake May's played in the league for 15 years and played in all this weather in New England.
True.
In his career yet.
I mean, went to North Carolina too,
Right.
I hadn't thought of any of those angles until you start bringing it up. And the only way I'd counter it is sometimes sometimes bad field conditions and wetness can slow down a great pass rush, and Houston wouldn't like that part of it.
Right.
That's something to be wary of. What's the field conditions like? What's the footing like?
Does it help a game plan for maybe an offensive line that's better run blocking than pass blocking, and
maybe
dual threat running backs to try to push you around a little bit, and you might not have that footing. So yeah, I can see it going that way too. And you just never know. I always think of Shady McCoy. You never know who that player.
Yeah, he was that guy. Yeah,
affected by the weather, slows down everybody else, but that one guy.
Yeah, that's always hilarious when there's one that's like, do you not know it's cold and nasty out here? And I only know this because the Steelers just played them in outdoors, but Stroud's numbers outdoors are much worse than indoors, this year and for his career. Just something noteworthy. I'm assuming Nico Collins will not play in this game. I mean, he did not participate. The last practice report we saw, and it looked like it was a second concussion of the year. He didn't really know where he was at after he hit his head off the turf. So I'm assuming he's not going to play. I think Christian Gonzalez will return from his concussion, though. But it'd been fun to see those two do battle. New England has not faced a defense anything like this. Anything like this. I mean, you look at their slate of defenses they've played, it's like the weakest in the league. Now, May's still the MVP to me, and we rank their offense very high. I have great respect for May and the running backs and McDaniel, but I don't like their O-line all that much, and I don't love their weapons against Stingley and Petrie and Lassiter and all these nasty dudes. So I don't think New England's going to put up their typical amount of points, and if weather's an issue, take that even up a notch. But the other side of the ball was really bad for Houston last week. I mean, they ran the ball well, and I was super impressed with the Patriots defense. They confused Herbert a lot. They made him very uncomfortable.
Did the Texans run the ball well because they ran the ball well or because the Steelers were bad on defense?
Both. I mean, they just put a big personnel and just came right at you. Yeah, and they stuck with it. They always stick with it. Yeah. And because they have great defense, they stick with it.
Yeah.
I'm taking the points here. I think this will be a very low-scoring game, like the lowest scoring game of the weekend. Maybe the first one to 15 wins. So if I'm getting 3 here, I'm taking the points.
I picked the Texans preseason. They were my team. I jumped off the bandwagon after they went 0-3.
Yeah,
they're back. I still have some questions on offense. They have the best defense left. I'm going to stick with the Texans. I'm going to pick the Texans straight up. So for sure, give me the points here. The Texans represent the AFC potentially in the Super Bowl. See how far they can go. But I like them getting past the Patriots, showing Patriots and Drake May something they have not seen this year yet.
Okay.
We got more potential weather as well in Chicago. And Matthew Stafford, let me drop some notes on you here. And by the way, the Rams are favored on the road at Chicago by 3.5 points here in the final game Sunday of the divisional round of the playoffs. Matthew Stafford's numbers in outdoor games in the rain and snow in the last 10 games. He's got a 1-9 record. He's thrown 16 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. And then you go back to the Rams' last 10 games in Chicago. Their record is only 2-8 and have gotten beaten up in a lot of those games. And it's looking like about 20 degrees with big-time winds up to 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts and 55% chance of snow on Sunday is what we're looking at here. Let me double-check what the latest is. It's only 16 degrees there right now. It's a cold one in Chicago. So there's going to be some weather. There's going to be some wind as there tends to be. And yeah, 21 degrees is the forecast for Sunday with snow. So there we go.
Okay.
77% chance of snow. So it's up a little bit now.
I also think every time I think of Chicago this time of year, I immediately think it's the sloppiest field, slowest track in the league. And I think that slows down the Rams pass rush. And the back seven for the Rams has not been good lately. Obviously the strength of that defense is their defensive line. I think they're well coached too. You mentioned the Stafford numbers. It's a little concerning, that's for sure. And the whole offense as a whole. I mean, it's not just him is the culprit there. But boy, I have a hard time going against McVay in a game like this. Yeah, and Stafford with the experience advantage.
How about this? To add to that point, Sean McVay is 5-2 against Dennis Allen-led defenses. And has scored between 20 and 35 points in each of those games. So that's definitely an advantage. But again, like we might have both MVP candidate quarterbacks muted because of bad weather on Sunday, which is
very possible. 4.5 the number that you saw?
Let's see here.
The last I saw was 4.5, and that's what
4.5.
I'm definitely taking the points here. I expect a close game. The Bears are never out of it. They got a ton of weapons that will be really difficult on the Rams back seven to deal with. I'm sure Caleb can cut the weather as well as Stafford too. I mean, they both are big arm, drive the ball through the wind type guys. I'm going to give the nudge to McVay and Stafford based on experience. I feel like the Bears are kind of playing with house money at this point. But you're going to give me over a field goal? I'll sign me up for that.
I'm going to take the Rams, I think. There's a lot of reasons why I want to take the Bears in this one. I just don't trust the defense. And the Rams, despite, having Stafford and his 40 touchdown passes and maybe bad weather that hurts them in the passing game, they can run the ball well too. And the Bears had a nice showing last week against the Packers, but they have not been good on the defense side of the ball and stopping the run. And so it definitely muddies it up, literally if there's weather here. But I like the Rams. I think it could affect the Patriots more than the Rams is the way I guess I would say that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
As bad weather goes. So I'm going to take the Rams here. I just think they're a better football team and to go in and nice run for the Bears. They don't get to come back in this one.
Okay.
There you go.
It's going to be fun.
Those are the divisional round playoff games. I think there's going to be a lot of good ones. There's a lot of reasons that any of these teams could advance. I think more than recent memory, it's a toss-up, what teams could be representing each conference in the Super Bowl this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, Matt and I will be back post games on Monday to break it all down right here on the NFL Six Pack. By the way, check out the Everydayer Club. NFL sixpack.supercast.com or find the link in the show notes. And we'll be back after the divisional round of the playoffs.